Welcome back. So let's expand on our conversation on accountability in the judiciary. This time, of course, we are joined by parliamentarians who serve in the Portfolio Committee on Justice. Joining us in studio is the MK Party's Mr. David Skhosana. We're joined as well via video link by the EFF's Mr. Mazwi Blose and the ANC's whip of the Study Group on Justice, Mr. Oscar Matafa. Gentlemen, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been quite a busy day. And Mr. Skhosana, I'll start with you because you are in studio with us. Thank you so much for your time. It's interesting. You've come in and out from Cape Town today after what is really, I suppose the commencement of some of the work of that parliamentary ad hoc committee, looking into the allegations made by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And we've got now a chair for this ad hoc committee. Just your view on the role and the capability of Mr. Soviet Lekganyane to take the job forward.
Good evening to your viewers as well. And a lady, we just want to say, I want to make a disclaimer, as you've seen today, when we met for the first time electing the chairperson. But we thought that we have missed an opportunity here, that we could have had somebody who's not in the ruling party, per se. Remember that what General Mkhwanazi has raised, in that press conference, precisely, it's members, in particular, of the governing party. In particular, now we say the GNU. Remember that the minister who, I'm not sure whether it's suspension or whether it's special leave, but he still participates.
It's a special leave.
Yeah, and indeed, he participates on the parliamentary issues, which I think as well that will have to be discussed. And I don't think it's ethically correct for somebody who was alleged, that he has done so many things. And I guess that as Parliament, we should not only go there for optics as well. You remember, I said this morning to say, we must avoid at all costs what happened to the former Chief Justice Ngobo's report, which was taken to Parliament. And what a waste of money. As you remember that prima facie, which the former Chief Justice has told the nation about, was like, it's like a piece of paper because Parliament voted against it. You remember, it's only Nkosazana Zuma who voted, yes, that matter has to be investigated. But parliamentarians in the last administration has done something which will regret for many generations to come. But as Mkondo and Sizwe Party, we are very, very clear. No one must be protected. We are all equal before the law. And I think it was a missed opportunity this time for us to have that. But because it's all about numbers. You've seen I've raised the issue of Honorable Member Julius Malema. Unfortunately, it declined. But be that as it may, irrespective, they've got numbers. And in Parliament, it's all about numbers. But it should not be about that. People must see justice in this country. It should not be about law and order or a rule of law. General Mkhwanazi was very, very clear. He wants to see justice being done. And South Africans have been waiting for decades.
I'm going to open up that question, in fact, for some of our other speakers. Mr. Oscar Matafa of the ANC. I imagine some confidence that you have in Mr. Soviet Lekganyane leading the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee.
No, definitely, Naledi. Greetings to you and to the viewers at home and my fellow panelists. Naledi, let me first start speaking about the delegation that the ANC has sent through. You will realize the gravity of the situation by the caliber of individuals that you have sent. Firstly, Honorable Lekganyane serves in the JSC. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi implicates the judiciary and the magistracy. So obviously, in our considered view, we believe that Honorable Lekganyane would have dealt with some of these issues, would have had an appreciation of some of the challenges that your former guest has spoken about. So we believe that he will be able to carry the load. We have also the chairperson of the Justice Committee, who I serve under. We have the chairperson of the Communication Subcommittee and the chief whip of the largest party, Honorable Ntuli. This goes to show the seriousness under which we take this particular matter. And the other alternate member, she's serving in the Joint Committee on Defense. And this is the area of the security cluster, because it interacts pretty much with the judiciary as well as the entire justice system. And we have complete faith in Honorable Lekganyane. And I think Honorable Malema did a wise thing by not availing himself to contest Honorable Lekganyane. And I think it's because they serve together in the JSC. He also have confidence in him. That is why he allowed him to be elected unopposed.
Yeah, let's bring in the views of the EFF now. Mr. Blose, Mazwi Blose, thanks so much for your time as well. Your confidence in the chair of this parliamentary ad hoc committee into Mkhwanazi's allegations?
Yeah, look, Naledi, greetings to you and the viewers at home. I mean, firstly, for us as the EFF, on a principled position, we really thought that the ANC government, alongside their GNU partners, will actually want to take the people of South Africa into confidence and actually, appreciate that it's not just about justice being done, but it's about justice being seen to be done. Because if you look generally, Naledi, in the Standing Committee of Public Accounts in Parliament, which is SCOPA, it has, historically been chaired by a person who is outside of the ruling government. And that's precisely because of the fact that you cannot hold yourself accountable. So we're hoping that the ANC and the GNU partners will have that appreciation and want to give the chairpersonship of this committee, to someone who's outside of the current government of the day. So that's our people in South Africa can have that confidence to say that the allegations that were tabled by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, which inherently, points to direct members who are either within the state government or has served in the states before. And then we don't expect that the ANC government will go after their own people and actually want to have damning rulings about them. There will be certain protection that they will want to protect their members, just like they've done now, because they have not even suspended Senzo Mchunu. Currently in the Ministry of Police, it's a mess. We don't even know who's in charge there. So we were hoping that the ANC government, sanity will prevail, but unfortunately they didn't. So we don't have a problem with the chair in his personal capacity, but we have serious problems that chairpersonship of this ad hoc committee is chaired by a person coming from the ruling party.
Yeah, so opposition party is not quite happy with the appointment there of the chair of that parliamentary ad hoc committee. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back, we'll take your calls, but we're going to then start focusing on what this parliamentary ad hoc committee needs to be doing to deal with accountability in the judiciary, independence in the judiciary. We're taking your WhatsApps on 072-110-5584. Stay with us. Welcome back. So we continue with our conversation as we discuss accountability in the judiciary, but particularly with parliamentarians who serve in the Portfolio Committee on Justice. Of course, today we saw the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee that is going to look into some of General Mkhwanazi's allegations, kicking off its work by appointing its chairperson. We were joined by three political parties in studio and via video link. But let's see some of the comments from our viewers. Be part of the conversation by sending us a WhatsApp on 072-110-5584 or give us a call on 010-5946-010. What is it that you have to say about whether or not you have faith in the independence of our judiciary? Let's see some of those messages. Luvuyo Doe in the Eastern Cape says, "Good evening, Naledi. The recent guilty verdict against a judge highlights the importance of accountability within the judiciary. It's crucial that judges uphold the highest standards of integrity and impartiality. This case demonstrates the need for effective mechanisms to assure accountability and maintain public trust in the judicial system." Luvuyo, thank you so much for that. Butlokwa says, "Good evening, Naledi. Holding judiciary officials accountable in terms of misconduct is what always needs to happen so that our constitution is protected and not ruined, because misconduct can jeopardize the constitution of our beloved country, South Africa." That's Wako from Butlokwa. Okay, thank you for that. Wako, good evening. This is, if the judiciary is not independent and depends on the executive for appointments and budget, it's not easy to make rulings against it. There are always complaints about interfering, hence corruption and crime is not easy to solve. Madix with that one. And Savuka says, "Good evening, Naledi. The misconduct of judges is a worrying factor. They must be held accountable for their actions." Temba Savuka with that message. Right, we continue with our guests. Mr. Skosana, here in studio with us. Let's get into it. The MK Party's wish list of what this parliamentary ad hoc committee needs to do with the allegations made particularly against the judiciary.
I must say that, as you know, that I serve in the Police Portfolio Committee, and it was a joint sitting, which eventually came with to where we are today about the ad hoc committee about this matter which Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has raised. But I just want to say to you that judiciary has failed to realize the importance, of these constitutional issues. Now judges, depends who appears before them. Hence, the president of Umkhonto weSizwe has been raising this for many times. We've been in court, I don't know how many times. You know that. We recently had a court case in the Constitutional Court. The MK, our case was a constitutional. That's why it was admitted. And the president made it a constitutional by making it illegal appointment when it comes to the issue of Minister Kakala today. Because that alone is by nature is constitutional, because we were raising those constitutional issues. Now, in the past, I'll give you a case of Makate. The judiciary has failed Makate. Judiciary, people feel that is compromised in a sense that they are failing to decide a Vodacom case. In fact, they've imposed a cost. Instead of a big company like Vodacom, they impose cost on a poor Makate. 21 years, this case has been on the road. Justice Nhlanhla is even retired. Almost, I don't know how many chief justices have retired since this matter has been on the roll. Hence, we are saying, as Umkhonto weSizwe Party, we want to see justice being done. At the other committee, as I said earlier, is not only the Justice Committee, it's the police and justice. And as my colleague has already indicated, the intelligence as well is involved. Hence, they've got their members. We've got Nomvalo, who's leading, on our Justice Portfolio Committee. He's a lawyer by profession for that matter. And we have my colleague, Honorable Shongwe, who we serve in this committee. And indeed, we are not going there because of numbers. We want to see exactly what General Mkhwanazi has raised. He has raised issues, he substantiated those issues, but we were disturbed today when one member, from Parliament, a legal member, because I've raised these issues as well, to say we should not be like the past, the sixth administration, to what they've done, as I indicated earlier, to say the Chief Ngobo matter tells you, and our SC, Dalimpo, said it in court to say, people are so excited about the Judicial Commission of Inquiry. We know at the end of the day what's going to happen. Once that report is out, then what? We've got a Zondo Commission report as we sit here. People are serving in the cabinet. Former Chief Justice Zondo is saying today it was painful for him to sworn in people who are implicated. He has a report. He has a prima facie evidence about those people. Gwede Mantashe, who was acting now, is part of that. Honorable Mahlobo, who's the Deputy Minister of Water Affairs, is involved in that. The list is endless. Even the person he was talking about here, Sasangodi, we know the PP matter. He's involved in the PP, the COVID-19 matter. She's part of us. Where's the DA, our colleague in the other community, Breitenberg, she's saying that General Mkhwanazi was supposed to take this matter, not a press conference, to Parliament. Parliament, they vote in numbers. There's a GNU, it's a fact. And I'm saying General Mkhwanazi has done justice to this country. And no one must blame him. Now today, he must feel ashamed of what he has done.
Yeah, I want your wish list though. So what is it that the ad hoc committee needs to do? But I'll come back to you for that. Mr. Blosse, let me let you have an opportunity here for the EFF, where we talk particularly about accountability in the judiciary. Of course, we're having this conversation on the back of the JSC finding, for instance, the suspended Gauteng judge, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, guilty of, misconduct. This is after she, was also serving as chair of PRASA. So we're talking broadly about judicial independence. And then, of course, we've got this ad hoc committee that is looking at the allegations of Mkhwanazi. So where judicial independence is concerned, what does the EFF want to see the ad hoc committee do? Who does it call? The questions that need to be asked, targeted particularly at the judiciary.
Yeah, look, no, thanks, Naledi. I mean, for us, it's really concerning that, or it's not a concern, but generally there's this notion that the judiciary are immune from corruption, they are immune from being, mischievous in terms of how then they run their business. So what General Mkhwanazi has actually started here, he has started not just the debate, but he has actually directed Parliament to go into the judiciary and look at its work and look at how they function. So for us as the EFF, it's very simple. We want to see heads rolling. We want to see accountability. And if you had listened to the earlier ad hoc committee today, we actually indicated that part of what we want in terms of the terms of reference, we want to have our expression in that first draft, because there are serious things that we want to allocate there in those terms of reference, so that they are actually clear in terms of how then do we hold these people accountable, who then do we call into the ad hoc committee, and then if those people then do not want to come to the ad hoc committee, what then must become the recourse for that.
What is that wish list, though, for the EFF on who it is that you'd want to call? Have you as a party discussed that as yet?
No, so obviously the president sits in that committee with the Deputy Secretary General, and we just had our first meeting today. And obviously these allegations are quite broad. It's something that we are actually going to look into a party to then look at the specifics. And as we have been given that deadline for Friday, we are then, as we're depositing our inputs into the terms of reference, then we are going to give that expression explicitly. But there are people that we want to call in, but obviously we're then going to consolidate our view to make those submissions. And then as we put in those submissions with the deadline of Friday, then our perspective would be explicit in that regard.
Mr. Matafa, how this ad hoc committee needs to tackle the issue of judicial misconduct or the allegations thereof?
I think maybe before I go to that one, lady, I see the opposition is not happy with the GNU sitting in numbers in the ad hoc committee. Remember, the ad hoc committee is established following the proportional representation. So the bigger you are in parliament, the more numbers you will have. And today, numbers were not used. It was a conscious decision by Honorable Malema not to contest. But secondly, Naledi, I think our guests or my colleagues here are tacitly distorting Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. I can't remember anywhere where he said it's only ANC MPs who are implicated. The three of us sitting here might be on his list.
Who said?
Because he said...
Hold on, let's hear him out, yes. Yeah.
Yes, are serving in parliament. He did not indicate from which political party. Secondly, in one of the joint committee meeting, one member who is not a member of the ANC stood up and volunteered to be first to come and speak to the committee because he had had some dealings with the intelligence. And he challenged all of us sitting in that committee that if we had interaction with the intelligence and the police, we must come forward. And I think for Honorable Skosana, it's very unfortunate that the MK seems to appreciate and agree with the courts only when they find it in their favor. But when they don't find it in their favor, the judiciary is not impartial, it's not independent. So that particular inconsistency, I think it needs to be challenged. And the issue of the rule of law is sacrosanct in the Republic. All of us here, in the eyes of other people, are guilty of something. Allegations will be made. Until those allegations are tested, we can't be found guilty in the public court. And Honorable Mkhunu has been relieved of his duties as a minister, but he remains a member of parliament. He does not participate in the executive. There is nowhere that he will interfere with the work of the police.
I'll give you
so for my wish list, the first one, I would say it would be important that the ad hoc committee borrow some of the terms of reference from the president. And for me, the significant one is to assess the effectiveness of oversight mechanisms as well as accountability bodies that are currently in existence. Policy, legislation reform, where they are found to be weak, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry has been mandated to make those recommendations. So, Naledi, this speaks to legislative overhaul. And I think it speaks and also looks at strengthening Section 165 of the Constitution, which guarantees the independence of the judiciary. So that is the first part. All of us sitting here have taken an oath to honor and obey the Constitution, which guarantees the independence of the judiciary. So the first part is to borrow some of the terms of reference, not to compete, but to complement each other. And in terms of the wish list, everyone that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi has mentioned by name, I would wish for them to appear in the ad hoc committee, including the member who volunteered himself to come through and speak to us.
All right. All right. Mr. Skosana, you've got a lot to say in response to Mr. Matafa.
I must say that, you know, we made it very clear today when we elected the chairperson. That is not about the chairperson. But we are saying ANC is conflicted in this matter because of Senzo Mkhunu. And we are saying here, as Umkhonto says, you asked about the wish list. We wish the president can be called to the other committee as well to explain himself. We wish even those people who are incarcerated, to those ones, if the Department of Correctional Service can give us, you know, the guarantee that, because there's issues of drugs here. There's a lot of issues which are involved, which General Mkhwanazi has told the whole country and the whole world what is happening in South Africa, especially at the top level of the South African police service. For the judiciary to say is independent is debatable, as I have cited issues here. If judicial was independent, I can tell you now, where I'm sitting, that they will have completed the case of Makate. It's a disgrace that the apex court in this country has again taken that matter back to the Supreme Court of Appeal for whatever reason. Justices have left before that case was two decades. What is so difficult? Because the arbiter in this country, the apex court is the final court in this country. But I'm saying when it comes to the issue of the wish list, we wish that this should not be only for optics reason. We are saying, because we've seen this thing before, as I was saying to you now, that for any member to say he's got confidence, justice must be seen to be done this time. Because all the commissions, it's not the first time we have an ad hoc committee. But I'm saying, if this thing comes to Parliament, the same GNU must not protect of their own, those who would be found wanting. Because we must not close ranks here.
Yeah, I want to just interrupt you because Mr. Matafa makes the point, though, around how it seems that yourself, for instance, he says you're happy with the judiciary if the judiciary rules in a way that you approve of. And you make the example over and over again of Nkosana Magate, for instance, a very emotive issue for South Africans. But then it raises the question, how do you then define an independent judiciary if there is a sense that, well, we're happy with this ruling and so the judiciary is independent. If we're not happy with that one, then the judiciary is viewed as not independent.
Let me tell you, we lost case. We never complain if the facts and they follow the Constitution. If they follow the Constitution to the latter, we don't have a problem with that. But there are issues, as I was giving you one, that we were told that our matter is not a constitutional matter. Why didn't it go to the High Court? The case of Zondo, State Capture Commission, they took the president without trial. He got an direct access to the Constitutional Court. Is that independence? It's closing ranks. They could not say no to their chief justice. Hence, we complain about Justice Nhlanhla to say Justice Nhlanhla was still serving in the Constitutional Court, but the president appointed him and even told the whole world as well, Nhlanhla, that the work of the Judicial Commission have started. In other words, he was moonlighting. For me and for Umkhonto, it means he was moonlighting because he told us the job has started already. And we hope, as Umkhonto says as well, that we should not waste taxpayers' money. Let them make sure that they find a public space where, you know, like a hall, you know, for instance, or a legislature where we can have this thing. That what happened to the State Capture Commission must not repeat itself. We spend over $1 billion for nothing. And I'm saying that boldly. As I was saying to you, that Zondo today, he says it doesn't feel good.
For swearing in members that were named.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take calls. We've got Ronald Makado, who's been standing by, one of our callers. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about perhaps what the terms of reference needs to look like from the EFF. I know that we've heard that view from the ANC, but we're continuing to look at the ad hoc committee, the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee looking into Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's allegations, but particularly where the judiciary is concerned, we cannot deny the importance of South Africans having faith and trust in the integrity and independence of our judiciary. How do we get that right at the end of this process, not just with the committee, of course, but also with the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, for instance? We'll get into that and more on the other side of this. Stay with us. Welcome back. While we continue our discussion looking at accountability, independence of the judiciary, and certainly how this ad hoc committee, this parliamentary ad hoc committee, will be tackling that particular element as part of the allegations made by the KZN Police Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Taking your calls on this one as well. Ronald is in Makado. Ronald, good evening. Thank you so much for calling in. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good evening, my sister Naledi.
Yes, thank you for calling, Ronald. Talk to us.
Judiciary is captured, my friend, my sister. Look at the issue of CR17. The president has taken it to Coastal Court. What happened? It was sealed. Para again, it was taken where? Coastal Court, it was sealed. IPID investigated the case. Mungono classify it with the same Constitutional Court. That day of the president and MKP, I was watching it. You can see that Dutch Heron is not fair. She's biased. We have seen that she imposed question on Dalipov, which are totally unfair. But when their masters go to court, they're just laughing. We can see that the judiciary is biased.
Let me ask you this, Ronald. What is your recommendation or call to action then, for instance, to the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee on what they do about that concern that you're raising?
It's the same. When they are finding they go where to the president is going to be classified.
Okay. All right, Ronald, thank you so much for calling. Let's take one more. Nati is in Richards Bay. Nati, good evening.
How are you, Naledi?
I'm well, sir. Thank you for calling. Talk to us.
Yes. I'm just looking for your call. But my concept is about EFF. EFF, Nhlanhla and today is failing to take the stand because always they want to point the finger from the ANC. But always the ANC is lead. But EFF, they need to look themselves because that other committee is stand from the people of South Africa, not for the each politically. But they need to understand that because always they stay together in the parliament. They failing to discuss the matters. But when it's in front of TV or in front of people, they want to make us the fully because of they stay together. They failing to discuss the matter, the serious matter, because of they just want to point each one another. Because instead of fighting for the people of South Africa.
Sure, Nati. Okay, thank you so much for calling, Mr. Bloss. I think that one's for you, Nati in Richards Bay, saying that the leader of the EFF failed the EFF supporters by not agreeing to stand for that position of chairing this ad hoc committee. What do you say to that?
Well, Naledi, it's unfortunate that people only look at sound bites on Twitter and then they make up an opinion. I mean, as the EFF, the president had really pronounced in a press conference that it would be interesting or he would like to take up the chairpersonship of that committee so that there can be true accountability. But if you would follow us, Naledi, you would know that we even issued a statement last night before this sitting of today, whereby we were trying to, give the GNU government an advance to say to them that they must give this chairpersonship to a different political party who's outside of government. When we went into that ad hoc committee, we understood that the numbers were not on our side. The ANC and its GNU partners had already agreed. There was even an NEC resolution from the ANC in terms of who must take up that position. and they had given that instruction to their GNU partners. So for for President Julius Malema to accept nomination today would have been just a ceremonial exercise, which we're never going to allow or to subject ourselves to. So there was nothing that we declined because we didn't want to take accountability or didn't want to take up the role. But the role was never available for us in the first place. We tried to lobby for us. We released a press statement. We tried to speak to other political parties, but they plain outrightly refused to give us that position. And there's nothing we can do. Just like the ANC MP was saying now, that Parliament is all about numbers. And if they got numbers, then they have numbers. But at the end of the day, we'll expose these things, and then it will be up to the people of South Africa to make up their judgment and to make up their own minds in terms of if this ad hoc committee is in the hands of the ruling party. Is there true justice that's going to be seen? Is there true accountability that's going to be seen? So you can't want to then take that and blame the EFF for that. It's not our problem.
Okay.
We tried our level best to lobby for it, and we were denied the opportunity.
Okay. Mr. Matafa, I want to give you closing thoughts because I am out of time, and you can respond to that if you'd like to, because I see you laughing at what Mr. Bloss is saying. But just as we wrap up, you know, Ronald in Makado called in and starts off with, no, Naledi, the judiciary is captured. And it speaks to that confidence of self, the lack thereof for some South Africans. What you say to someone like Ronald who holds these views, and I ask him, well, do you have confidence in what this ad hoc committee can possibly do for those confidence levels? And he holds very little. What you say to that citizen?
No, I am smiling, Naledi, because again, it speaks to how we interpret judicial decisions. If you were to remember the contempt cause of a case of President Jacob Zuma, Judge Theron dissented against the majority judgment to jail President Zuma. And she was celebrated by those who support President Zuma. Today, she holds a different view. Now she's vilified. And for me, it also links to the point that Honorable Skosana is raising, of comparing the Ngobo case, Makate case. For me, Naledi, it's about every case being treated on its own merit. And hence we are saying consistency should be applied. And we also need to remember that common law is also developed through decisions taken by the court. They not only rely on existing legislation. If there are new cases where the legislation has gaps, judicial decisions set precedent and somebody becomes the law going forward. So I think it's not correct for Honorable Skosana to keep on comparing the Ngobo case as well as the Makate case and the Judicial Commission of Inquiry. We further rebutted the issue that the Zondo Commission was a failure. It was not. Besides the money that we were able to generate, Mr. Yakub was sentenced, I think it was 2 weeks back, for his connection with the state capture crime. And lastly, for me, what is important, Naledi, the amount of evidence that we have in the repository of justice that was created through the Zondo Commission, which the NPA has access to, can at any point in time be used to charge and bring people to court. Yeah. That amount, I don't see how it could have been generated without that kind of a commission. So successes are too many beyond the financial aspects of it. So I will leave it there. Thank you. All right,
I'm going to leave it there with you. Thank you so much, Mr. Skosana, because you're in studio. I'll give you 30 seconds. Your message to a Ronald who's lost confidence, as you hear. He says he doesn't even believe in what this ad hoc committee is going to do.
A quick one. I'll try to respond to the last, my colleague, quickly to say that, you know, as we have SIU in this country, when he's quoting one person who was sentenced 2 weeks ago, we have quite a vantage. I've mentioned names. He doesn't want to touch them because he's the chairperson of the African National Congress. You know that our President Zuma, and our Deputy President, Dr. Hlophe, very clear, this Dutch Roman law this constitution has to be amended. As we have seen the private bill for the first time in 31 years.
Okay, I need to bring you back because I'm out of time. Ad hoc committee, Ronald says we have no faith. Is this ad hoc committee going to bring back confidence?
Because we're there, we just hope that the numbers he's talking about is not going to be the repetition of what happened in the 6th administration. Today, we must make sure that the country is being released from all these mishaps which happened in the past administration. This 7th administration must deliver to the people. And in particular, Umkhonto we Sizwe will make sure that no one is safe from this ad hoc committee. Everyone must come and account.
Well, we're getting closer to Friday, rather, when, of course, we'll hear the ad hoc committee start to put together their ideas of what the terms of reference needs to look like. But thank you so much to our guests, Mr. Mazwi Blose of the EFF joining us, as well as Mr. Oscar Matafa of the ANC and Mr. David Skosana of the Umkhonto Wesizwe Party in studio with us. We take a short break. Your headlines, top of the hour. Stay with us.